What is the definition of a good doctor? So, after those fellowship and everything, what's the focus of your practice?
Thankfully, I'm considered one of the high-volume implanters now in Egypt, maybe in the region. I'm trying to establish now a center of excellence, which I wish to do, a world-class center of excellence where you could treat any kinds of cases, the most challenging cases that need special expertise and special instruments, and not just treat patients, but educate at the same time. I'd love to have an academy for other surgeons to learn and to propagate what you learn to others. And because this, at the end of the day, this is what makes it all worthwhile at the end.
Let's say out of 100, how many people, men especially, knows about this penile implant?
Well, let's thank social media, because the power of social media, nowadays everyone knows about it. And by the way, our Egyptian fellow patients, and maybe Arabic patients, are very, very particular when it comes to treatment of sexual dysfunction. You find the patient aware of the doctors, of the techniques, even of the brands of the implants. So you have to be very meticulous, very careful when you counsel your patient, because you're dealing with a well-educated patient about his problem now. I have to say we still have a long way. That's why it's still our responsibility to raise the awareness, and but it's way better than before. But if you would say, I'd say maybe a little bit over 50%.
Wow.
But there's still a long way.
In Egypt, when you do the practice, how many men gets a malleable versus inflatable?
Well, that's a pretty good question. When you come to compare, 70% malleable versus 30% inflatable.
How come? I mean, patient satisfaction rate is uncomparable.
Higher, it's above 96 compared to 91.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference, but I think there are two main reasons for that. We have a lot of people doing the malleable, a lot of surgeons that are used to doing the malleable, and maybe that gives an impression that the malleable is better. Because I know we're dealing with a very confidential subspecialty, but at the same time, there is room for word of mouth. So the more malleables, the more that it's spread out, that malleables might be better. So that might be a point. And that's why we're working on raising the awareness and making people aware of the benefits of the inflatable compared to the malleable. The other important reason is maybe the financial part, because back in Egypt, the specialty of andrology is not covered by insurance. So it's all out of the patient's pockets. And that could be a reason for dictating which side you take.
But aren't there patients who ask for inflatables after they had malleable?
Yes, I have these kinds of patients, of course, because like I said, they become aware of the benefits of the inflatable and how natural it is, and how better it is than the malleable, and they come asking. Some patients sometimes even do the malleable because their financial status isn't ready at the moment, so they'll go for the malleable, and in a few years' time, when they come over and we switch it to an inflatable.
So after they switch it to the inflatables, what's their responses?
It's way better. There's a huge difference. Because as we know, that inflatable is more natural in terms of the mechanism of erection, the size, the length, the girth, the stability, and the concealment, of course.
In Egypt, do you have a public bath, or it's just a...
No, we don't have that. Yeah, that gym issue, like you want to walk around being proud of yourself. No, we don't have that in Egypt, but everyone wants to be proud in front of his partner.
So they take selfies?
I don't know. They don't send it to me.
Well...
Only for follow-up.
All right. What's your definition of a best surgeon?
A best surgeon is a knowledgeable surgeon. The best surgeon is who is keen on his patient's welfare, honest, transparent with his patient, has the knowledge and experience to deal with any kind of challenging cases especially, and to be keen on his patient even after surgery, and at the same time to be a good teacher for his fellow trainees and fellows and residents.
You are now in a prosthetics urology. I know you are doing a great job there. But in 10 years, where do you want to lead your practice to?
Well, as soon as I establish the Center of Excellence, I strive for an academy for teaching surgeons. I'd like to propagate this example or this model across the region.
Let's say you were able to achieve your goal, like you were able to switch it to the more inflatables, you were able to support more patient satisfactions, but what do you get throughout that process?
Well, I think that's the main reason why you wanted to be a doctor from the first place, is to help people, make people lives better. And part of it, of course, is you need to make a living. But imagine if you make a living out of making people happy. That makes it more worthwhile. And like we say back in Egypt, what we believe in is that sometimes just a single prayer from a sincere patient could be worth millions and millions of dollars.
You must have a lot of oncologist friends, right?
Yes, of course.
You've seen many oncologist patients, right? So oncologist patient. Oncologists are doing a great job, make them live longer, but they seldom get doctor thank you because it's a destructive surgery. They take something out. You need to pay something for your life.
Correct.
To survive longer. But there's a cost of it. Incontinence, erectile dysfunction sometimes. So patients seldom say thank you, even though the surgeon did a great job. I saw many oncologist friends at the beginning. They were really great guys. They're full of life. They're very, enjoyable. They're always happy, most of the cases, because they become oncologists. But after 10 years, now almost it's 10 or more years with me, they somehow became different person. They're more pessimistic. If you go to the oncology conferences, they always fight each other. I'm right, you are right, you are not right, I'm doing the best. No, I'm doing the best. Something like that happens. But if you come to the andrology conference, like a SMSNA, like this time, have you ever seen something like that?
No, we're all happy around here.
Yeah, generally we are all happy, right?
We're all friends.
Chill out
and yeah.
Maybe that kind of personality led us to this field.
Correct.
But at the same time, I think patient response, how patients' feedback, is the reason why we became what we are now. So do you think it affected your life other than your practice?
Well, you have a point there, but it's the totally opposite in our case, I think, because like you said, oncologists take something out. You're losing something to extend your lifespan. On the contrary, you're providing something that was missing. For example, if a couple lost their intimacy because of sexual dysfunction, you provide that. If a couple is trying hard to get a baby, you help them get a baby. So it's the opposite. That's why they're happier. An oncologist is a different story. He's not improving lives, he's maybe extending lives, increasing the survival rates. So I know that hearing the word thank you will never be compared to how much we hear the word thank you, because we improve lives, we make people happier, we make couples happier. So that's why there's a huge difference in the patient's perspective to the service you're providing.
Some may think us as a cover-up guys, like a cosmetic surgery, One man or woman had a traffic accident, there's some, scars over here. Then cosmetic, surgeons, they make it better somehow. I, time to time, think maybe prosthetic urologists, what we do is the similar jobs. So I think there's a good reason why you became a prosthetic urologist after all this talk, because you want them to be happy, not just survive, right?
Correct.
So, Ahmed, what do you do in your free time, let's say? When you have a weekends or something like that, what do you do? I know you're very, very busy with your practice.
Well, like you just said, I think you could relate to that we don't have that much of free time. Even back in Egypt, the lifestyle in Egypt. And as a weekend, I only have one day as a weekend, which is on Friday. Yeah. But during my free time, like I said, I love handcrafting, so I like to fix things around the house.
Fix things?
Yeah. I have a list of things that have to be fixed during the week, and I wait for the weekend. They even call me the handy guy among our family whenever I'm visiting here or there. Ahmed, can you check out this? Can you check out that? So yeah, I invest in a good toolkit at home.
So, do you like to cook as well?
Well, cooking is a good combination between experimenting and handcrafting as well. Well, yeah, I'm not that much, but I like to grill. They like what I make at home, but to love or like cooking doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good cook.
Do you like to drive?
I like to drive, but maybe not in Egypt. But I do, yeah.
When you are on someone's car, do you prefer to drive or do you prefer to sit not driving?
No, I prefer to drive, honestly. Yeah. Because when I'm sitting next to him, I'm practically driving, but in another sense, I have no control.
So cooking, driving, handcrafting, is all three of this has a common aspect. You want to sit in the driver's seat. You want to control things. Because that's actually a common thing that is required to be a surgeon. As a surgeon, we always sit in the driver's seat. When you do the surgery, right, you can't really sit back and relax.
No, you're the number one responsible.
Yeah. You are the guy who should rule the scene. And you know what happens if you lost your control during the surgery. So I think it's just a characteristics. I interviewed other surgeons, other great surgeons before. Every time I go to their house. They're almost always a great cook. And they always love driving, not sitting in the other seat. And most of case, they are very good at their handcrafting. So that's the reason why I was asking you. I wanted to see why they always love to do the cooking, driving, or handcrafting. It turns out that our personalities are more of a be in control rather than chill out. Why the teaching and the attending, joining, coming to the meeting like this is important to you? Why?
Well, attending a meeting like this, the Sexual Medicine Society of North America's meeting is one of maybe most important meeting when it comes to the field of sexual medicine. Imagine a congregation of the best minds and experts in the field from all over the world. So where else would you find the best source of state-of-the-art science, knowledge, and experience? And it's a good opportunity to exchange experience with your fellow colleagues and to present your work. And it's even sometimes at the beginning of multi-institutional projects that could lead to the highest quality of science as a byproduct at the end. And then when you speak about teaching, I think that teaching is very crucial for any surgeon, any physician teaching, because when you teach, you have to stop, pause, analyze your steps. We as surgeons, as you once said, sometimes become blind because we keep doing our surgeries day after day. But when you teach, you have to analyze your steps. You have to explain why you do them to your residents or your junior surgeons. And sometimes questions come up and make you think about it. And then is when you improve and when you change a tweak here and there. Even your trainee or the person you're teaching can come up with questions, and he's looking to your surgeries with a different perspective, with a different thinking, with a different mind. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship, like you mentioned before, between the surgeon, between the teacher and the trainer and the trainee. And at the same time, attending such a meeting is very important because in a field like ours, seeing advancements every day, you're seeing advancements by the day, whether the technologies we're using, the devices, our implants, even the surgical techniques.
It took a lot of effort coming from Egypt to the US, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. You had to get a COVID test.
Of course, within 72 hours.
Of course. And you had to get through the vaccination.
And the vaccination, another test here to attend the meeting.
And you had to go through that tough visa thing, right?
Of course.
Even so, you came over here to get trained. I salute to your enthusiasm.
Thank you.